So there's a video of Illmind saying that all beats nowadays sound the same. And it got me thinking about my own opinion of type beats and how it's changed over the years and how wrong I've been about it. Let's watch the video, and I think I'm wrong again.
There's artists that don't want producers in the studio. Well, if you don't want the producer in the room, we're left trying to predict what you want. I think that us sitting in our rooms trying to predict what you want is not the right way to make music. You can't be an artist expecting to be fed what you're thinking. Like, you have to get in the room and create music together. I would love to see that happen more often. And I think that the artists are gonna get better quality beats. They're gonna be able to make better music. And we're gonna be happier because we're gonna be able to like produce better music and like think outside the box and not like be forced to make like the same beat over and over and try to like predict what people want.
So obviously not every artist and every producer can get in the same room together and make music. And so that's part of the appeal of going online searching for type beats, because eventually you'll probably find something that you like as an artist. And initially I was completely against, I hated type beats. I was chasing industry placements and I thought type beats were just a way for producers to steal existing beats, remake them, tweak them a little bit, and then sell them on the internet for a much cheaper price. Obviously, some producers do steal ideas and copy beats, but that is on them. It has nothing to do with type beat labels. So then I met a bunch of the top selling producers on the internet. They're incredibly talented people who make amazing beats. They're not copying. They explained to me that if they make a beat that's like an artist type beat, for example, Playboi Carti type beat, it's because that beat is one that they would play if they were in the studio with him. It's not a beat that they stole from an existing song of his. And there are millions and tens of millions probably of amazing type beats created by a lot of really talented producers. It's the reason why J. Cole went online on YouTube and searched for J. Cole type beat and then recorded a song to a J. Cole type beat that was uploaded by the producer by the name of Batman. It's because producers are supposed to know who would sound good on their beats, even if the beats that they make aren't necessarily exactly like anything that that artist already used. So all these producers that I was busy judging, they weren't copying ideas. They were making beats the way they wanted to make them and then considering who would sound good on them and then labeling them accordingly. And that was a great time in YouTube history when I think it was about 2016, 2017 when I first started doing it. I'd upload a type beat and I would think, this artist would sound good on this beat. So I would put their name in the title and get 50,000, 100,000 views on it because people were searching. The YouTube algorithm was not so restrictive and it allowed for us to reach listeners using this method. Things have changed for the worst, in my opinion. Now, of course, type beats aren't just specific to artists. A lot of producers that I look up to are using genre specific or style specific SEO tags like boom bap type beat, melodic type beat. So thankfully I realized that in order to be successful in the online beat leasing space, I didn't need to just copy what was out there already and then resell it at a cheaper price. So since then I've defended type beats because I got it so wrong initially. And I still defend people labeling their beats as type beats because that's how artists find our music. Artists came up with that. Producers didn't come up with that. And right now I don't see any alternatives. So we're stuck with the type beat label for now. But here's the problem. So I'm admitting, I'm looking into your YouTube eyes right now and saying, yes, I was wrong. Well, hope you're happy about that. I really do fear that nowadays type beats are putting us into boxes. And what Illmind was talking about was how beats in the music industry, capital M, capital I, music industry sound the same. But how about the internet type beat community? I think there is a problem and beats are starting to sound more homogeneous in this space as well. And there's a reason for that. I think type beats are putting us into boxes. It's not necessarily because of producers, but it's because of algorithms and because of listeners. The algorithm isn't a human, and the listeners, by and large, are starting not to understand the purpose of type beats. And again, no one really is out there making type beats. They're making a beat and labeling them a type beat. But the problem is if you make something expansive and not restrictive, you get punished by both the listeners and the algorithm for stepping outside of that box. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean in one screenshot. I got this comment the other day. I uploaded a beat, labeled it as a Drake type beat. Why? Because it's a beat that if Drake were in the room right now, I would play him among many other beats. His comment was, if I hear a zap percussion on a Drake song, I'll uninstall on my DAW immediately. So basically what he's saying was I used one single percussive sound in my beat that somehow made it not a Drake type beat, because he's never heard that kind of sound in a Drake song ever before. Okay, this is the problem. When Drake first came out, he was rapping over DJ Khalil beats, Boy Wonder beats, hard boom bap sounding beats, soulful sample beats. What if in 2011 I had made a house beat and dropped it on my channel and labeled it as a Drake type beat? What do you think would have happened? Everyone would have commented, Drake would never use a beat like this. Drake would never rap over anything like this. Never. Well, years later, he put out damn near a whole house album, which means it's not the consumer's job to have vision. A producer's job entails having vision. That's our job. My job as a producer isn't to give Drake what he already has and can get from other producers. It's to be expansive and original and stretch the bounds of his sound. That's my job with any artist. So when I read this comment, it hit me. I thought everybody knew type beats were just labels that were based on the producer's vision and not on actually sticking to very restrictive parameters of what a certain type beat has to sound like. That's boring. That's terrible. I mean, I make a ton of Rick Ross type beats, or I label them as Rick Ross type beats. Rick Ross has rapped on a couple of my beats, by the way. They sound like the ones I upload to my YouTube channel. I love making that style of beat. It comes to me naturally. So I don't feel like there's a problem there. But what if I decided to deviate from the typical mid-tempo luxury rap sound that people associate with my Rick Ross type beats? All of a sudden, that would be a problem. And the algorithm, not that my views are crazy as it is, my biggest beat, which has over 2 million views on my channel, is a Rick Ross type beat. The algorithm would start hiding my videos and punishing me because its retention would be low, the feedback would be negative, all because I wanted to just be a little more creative. Here's another comment. I got this one today. Recently collabed with Jay Armin on a track. I heard Eminem on the beat. I could hear a ton of artists on this one beat, but I labeled it as an Eminem type beat. Dirty Ink says, and this is a very honest comment. This is like the same comment we just got, but a much more honest comment. He said, probably wouldn't have said that a few years ago, but I definitely hear Eminem on this because it doesn't sound like a beat Eminem would have chosen 10 years ago. But it certainly sounds like a beat that he would choose today. So this is how I used to defend type beats all the time. And I stand on this, but I do think there is a problem with type beats today, not necessarily in how producers are making them, but how they're being received and how producers are being punished for not putting themselves in a box. Again, this was based on me thinking that everyone understood, everyone was on the same page about what the type beat title actually means, and they're not. So I tweeted, I don't trust any producer who doesn't know this by now, in response to Fem2 saying, we just input type beat to reach a particular target market. However, during the creative process, it's really about the feeling. Yeah, and that's how I feel. And I had this interaction with, I blocked his name out, but he said, type beats are awful because it means you don't have your own sound. And I asked him, he's a producer, I said, what legendary or current rappers would sound good on your beats? He named some names. He said Kanye. He even referenced a specific Kanye album, Yeezus. So I said, label it as a Kanye type beat or a Yeezus type beat or an experimental type beat. Those are all SEO tags that are being used right now. And he just couldn't, I guess, wrap his head around what I was telling him. He says, no, I don't make type beats. He says, I got my own sound, but verbatim, he just said that he could hear Kanye West on his beats and his beats would have fit into the Yeezus album. So that's the type beat struggle over here on this side. On the other side, there's the concern that if we are making unique beats and labeling them as a type beat based on, say, an artist, there's a good chance that the algorithms and the listeners will punish us if we're not making what they expect us to make based on that type beat label. So what's next? What do we do? I think this is really a YouTube problem because YouTube's algorithm is so restrictive. It's not showing people content that is expensive, that is new, that is creative. YouTube wants to make money, so they want to give people exactly what they expect. And I think YouTube will slowly but surely start losing ground, at least in terms of beat discovery. And websites like BeatStars will start taking over because they have a much less restrictive algorithm, if any. I don't know if they have one, and they have a search function. Why do I think this is? Well, one, because it's wishful thinking. I hope this happens. But two, because if we look at, so let's look at type beat search trend. They're going up, so that's a good thing. I don't know what happened this year. June of 2016 was a crazy year for type beat searches. YouTube kind of mirrors it. Maybe things are starting to drop a little bit, but who knows? That could just be a temporary dip and things could go up again. But if we compare those numbers to BeatStars search terms in Google, just the term BeatStars, these are very similar trends. So honestly, I can't just say, yeah, this is what's happening. This is the conclusion that I draw, and it's very clear from these graphs. It's not. But what it does show is that search terms just for BeatStars in general are growing. And if you search Google for type beats, one of the top results is BeatStars and the other top result is a BeatStars Pro page. So I think there is a possibility, it's not at all unlikely, that eventually serious beat buyers, people who are really looking to buy beats, discover new producers, will start using more appropriate platforms. If the listeners on YouTube are now used to YouTube's restrictive algorithm giving them something that's way too precise to actually inspire more creativity, then that could lead to YouTube losing its monopoly on type beat searches. Why is this good? Because BeatStars doesn't have a search algorithm like YouTube's that punishes you for not impressing an uncreative audience. BeatStars also has many options for tagging your beats that have nothing to do with the type beat labels. So genre, for example, mood, tempo, feel, etc. So hopefully this happens, and if it does, what do you want to do? What happens when artists start searching for beats on websites other than YouTube? Well, I would say getting established on websites that don't follow YouTube's algorithm, whether it's BeatStars, whether it's AudioMac, is probably a good idea for producers who want to be ahead of the curve for when these changes happen, if they happen. I think another thing is a lot of producers are promoting their YouTube beat channels. Whenever an artist asks them for beats, they put it in their Twitter bios, their Instagram bios, etc. I think I've even seen producers run ads for their YouTube channels. Maybe consider directing as much traffic as possible away from your YouTube channel, because YouTube you can't actually sell directly on anyway. You may as well focus directly on your beat store, whatever that may be. I know Veloco is an app that just did a deal with BeatStars, so that's some place to start getting established on. So if you know of any websites or platforms that producers can use to get their beats out that you think have a lot of potential for growth in the future, let me know. Drop a comment, because I'll join, if it looks promising, and I'm sure other people will appreciate that too. So thank you for doing that. Appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe, leave a comment. Much success to you.